And for Montana State, Michael Paulo's a guy that they're going to need to score, junior from Toronto. Adamu and Bello as well, two kids to keep your eye on tonight for Montana State. And we're set for the opening tap. Devin Kirby is 6'11", and he's given away literally about 4 inches to Kuba Karvovsky. Montana State will control the tap. We're underway. College basketball season beginning. These two schools met last year at the very start of the season. It was a blowout win for Utah State. But with a new coach, they don't know what to expect. Well, a long-range jumper will begin for Michael Paulo, who we just said has to score for Montana State, so a good beginning for the Bobcats.
Michael Paulo comes to this program as a scorer out of Williston State Junior College. Great first possession for the Bobcats. And it looks like on that first defensive possession by Utah State, they're going to come double every post catch through.
Well, Craig Smith, he was a newcomer last year, and now he's in his second year.
The Mountain West Conference Coach of the Year, as you would expect when his team wins the regular season championship and the conference tournament in his first year. His 8th year overall coming to Utah State after 4 years at University of South Dakota. His first coaching job was at tiny Mayville State in North Dakota.
That foul a moment ago was on Paulo. Here's Sam Merrill. He draws the crowd every time he touches it. Miller, that's an NBA 3. But we told you, he could fire. And we might as well get this out of the way. One of the rule changes in college basketball this year, they're now at the international line from three-point range. And I know to some kids it does make a difference because now all kids shoot it from 30 feet like Steph Curry. Sure. But it is a difference.
No, it is a difference. They backed it up to the 22 feet 1 3/4 inches. I think it won't be a huge difference, Drew, but it'll be a difference.
Here's Frey. Keep in mind he's left-handed. Merrill guarding him.
Very patient.
Yeah, 1 second to get it off, and they actually get a pretty good look from Paulo. That rebound run down by Justin Bean. Here comes Utah State.
Utah State returns 4 starters. Of course, they're playing without their freshman of the year last year, big 7-foot Neemias Keita, the defensive player of the year as well.
Well, Merrill missed, but there's the big kid again, 52, Kuba Karvovsky, 7'2", originally from Poland. And he'll get free throws.
Drew, he's not only 7'2", he's got long arms. You don't have to jump a whole lot when you're 7'2" with long arms. As you just saw, he was all up around the rim.
Let me ask you, Coach, if you're 7'2", you ain't gonna have short arms, are you?
Well, that's a pretty good point. I would just kind of early on kind of easing into things, you know.
I understand.
My point is that his length, he doesn't have to jump very high. Ooh, nice rebound. I put that big body on Big Bello, another junior college kid from Montana State with 3 years left of eligibility for the Bobcats. The Bobcats starting 3 new junior college players from that are new to their program this year.
Devin Kirby looking for help. They get a down screen, and the first look doesn't go for Frey, but an offensive rebound. Contact inside, and free throws coming for Jabril Bello. Big international flavor for Montana State. They have 6 players from outside of the U.S., including Bello and Adamu, who played together in London, as in not London, Ontario, London, England.
Well, both these teams have 6 international players, which ties them for the 3rd most in the NCAA. I tell you, Montana State is 1 for 3, but have gotten 3 pretty good looks at it. They've all been jump shots, but again, 3 very good looks.
So Utah State, Montana State, both with 6 players that are foreign born.
Montana State, Drew, last year led the Big Sky in scoring at 82 points a game. Their issue was they gave up just about as many as they got, giving up 78 in conference play, and a league's poorest 45% defensive field goal percentage. So if Coach Sprinkle wants to improve this team, starting at the defensive end would be a good start.
Abel Porter with a good drive. And Coach Sprinkle told us earlier this afternoon, he said, we are going to play defense. And if you don't play defense, you're going to sit next to me. So he wants to get it up and down, but he don't want to give up near the number of points that Montana State gave up a year ago.
Again, nice execution by Montana State getting that ball low to Bello, but he turned and tried to shoot it over the 7'2" Karvoski. That's going to be a tall order about all night.
They say that went off of Miller as it was deflected by Michael Paulo. That's a good job defensively. We'll have our first substitution. Zeke Quinlan's going to come in for Montana State.
6'8" sophomore from the Portland area. He appeared in 25 games last year. A good-looking young player, big wide shoulders at 6'8".
And another opportunity for Kirby. And it does not matter, even without Mimi Keita, who's one of the terrific big men in college basketball, not playing tonight. They have a lot of size, Utah State inside. They affect shots around the rim.
Well, they went from being a small team last year to the second biggest team in all the NCAA this year. Last year, Quinn Taylor, the starting four-man, had to play post when Keita went out.
Here's Miller. He'll call his own number again. Transition three doesn't go. And it's going to go off of Montana State as Quinlan couldn't corral it. So another opportunity for Utah State. They have an early 7-4 lead. Coming up on our first immediate timeout. And they're going to get Trevin Dorius. We talked about size. They take out a 7-footer and they bring another 7-footer in.
Well, with Keita on the team, of course, he's not going to play tonight. They again went from being a small team last year to 5 guys who were 6'10" or bigger, 3 7-footers, and you just saw a 7'2" player go out being subbed for a 7-foot player.
With that foul, we arrive at timeout number 1. 7-4 Utah State on their home floor early. One of the reasons Utah State had such a marvelous season last year, 28-7, 15-3, the freshman Mimi Keita. A lot of people didn't know much about him. They learned quickly. Not only was he a factor on the offensive end, a dozen points a game, 9 rebounds, but 2.5 blocks every time out. He truly was one of the best rim protectors in college basketball. Now, he put his hat in the ring for the NBA draft, and after about a 2-month process, decided, you know what, I want to get stronger. I had a great experience in Logan. I'm going to come back for my sophomore year. The reason he's not playing tonight and may not play for somewhere in the neighborhood of a few weeks is that in Europe over the summer, I'll get to it in a moment, here's a transition shot that goes down. That's a difficult shot that's made by Adamu for his first bucket of the ball game. But at the European Championships, the FIBA U20s, he's playing for his native land of Portugal, which they won it all. But in the semifinals, he had a dislocation of his knee. Rehab's going great. In fact, before the game, he was going through a lot of the drills that the other kids were going through. They're just going to take it really slow. They're thrilled with how rehab has gone. They will get him at some point. As Coach told us earlier, it may be a few weeks, it may be a little bit longer than that, but he will come back. And what a terrific player to get.
Boy, he had no tears in that knee. He basically had a severely sprained knee. Montana State just did a great job of defending that end out. Their walkthrough, Danny Sprinkle and staff, had a great detailed scouting report in defending Utah State's end outs, and they executed that to a T that last defensive possession.
Sam Merrill draws the charge. You talk about his offense, his ability to distribute. He is one of the better defensive players among backcourt players in the conference. And his coach, Craig Smith, says he's our best defender, and you saw it there as he draws the offensive foul on Harold Frey.
You know, some guys are really good defenders on the ball, and then they get lost off the ball, or some guys are really good defenders off the ball. Sam Merrill's terrific at both.
Here's Frey, and he's fouled. Pretty good two-man game. Frey up the floor with Adamu.
Adamu is a high-level athlete. To play about a minute before that, he made a steal and flew down the floor for a layup. A little bit too unselfish here. He had the angle at the ball. I think he kind of caught Frey off balance. Frey is a career 80% plus free throw shooter. His first basket, both leading scorers of the team on their respective teams have not scored yet, with the exception of Frey's first free throw there. Sam Merrill's not made a basket.
Again, Frey, a senior from Oslo. His father, one of the best players in the history of Norway.
I had a nice talk with him during their shoot-around today, and I said, what are you going to do after this year? He has started every game in his career. This is his 97th straight start. He said, well, I want to continue to play, and being European, he'll have a great opportunity to play. That's what's called a Bosman in the European League when you have a European passport. So he'll play a long time. Then he said he wants to get into coaching.
Utah State turns it over. That pass a little bit hot from Alfonso Anderson, trying to connect with Diego Brito.
Alfonso Anderson, a great athlete who started his career at University of Montana, went to North Idaho Junior College, but they think he could ultimately end up being a starter at either forward position. Very impressed with Montana State's patience on offense and execution. They have gotten really good shots and gone deep into the shot clock on virtually every half-court possession.
That's on Dorius. There's Danny Sprinkle, and I think there's a lot of similarities between Coach Sprinkle and Coach Smith. Two guys who have great intensity, really charismatic. You know they're going to recruit well. They're just really likable guys. They're good friends, by the way, from the recruiting trail.
Well, Danny Sprinkle played for an outstanding coach, Mick Durham, at Montana State, the all-time leading winningest coach at Montana State, and he learned a lot about coaching, about fundamental basketball from Mick Durham, who won almost 250 games at Montana State. But I agree with you. I think they are both cut from the same mold. They have both worked their way up and kind of earned their stripes. Craig Smith's first coaching job at tiny Mayville State. Danny Sprinkle taking a graduate assistant job in his very first coaching job out of college. We're about starved to death like a lot of coaches did. But again, both of them have kind of earned their stripes to this point.
Yeah, last few years at Cal State Fullerton as an assistant. They had some terrific teams. There's Merrill's initial basket of his senior year, and he'll have an opportunity to tack on an extra point. Fouls on Quinlan. That's his second.
You'll see
Sam
this play.
Merrill, he kept the ball away, didn't he, nicely?
Yes, he did. He had a great hesitation move and then a great finish. And you'll see this play a lot all year where they put one of their best shooters. At that point, it was Brito in the right corner, and they'll let Merrill use that elbow ball screen. If you come help off the shooter, he'll kick it to him. If not, he'll get all the way to the basket like he just did there. Sam Merrill had 37 points against Montana State last year in that opening game.
He wasn't the Montana State wasn't the only team he victimized, because Merrill had 30-plus on 4 occasions, 20-plus 18 times.
He had 37 twice, and I think his season high was 38 in the conference game at Colorado State.
That was an overtime victory in Fort Collins. We had that game. That was a heck of a game. There's a steal by Brito, saves it to Merrill.
Utah State playing with a little more energy in their half-court defense now.
Good drive. A lot of contact underneath. Good defense by Montana State as Anderson couldn't get the follow. And that will count. Bello.
Watch Anderson. Great rebound down at one end, but doesn't give it his full effort coming back in transition defense. the junior college players got to learn you got to play hard every possession up and down. Made a great offense, or got a great offensive rebound. He couldn't cash it in, maybe kind of not pouting a little bit, but hanging his head, and Big Bello just outran him down to the other end of the floor. Great effort by Bello.
One of 3 from the line, Bello. 10-10. 7 minutes in. Anderson tries a 3-ball. That missed everything. Frey's back out there. He got a brief break.
The freshman Fernandez in, now number 23, the big Spaniard for the Bobcats.
Here's Brito, another young player out of Portugal.
Only 3 Division I players from Portugal, and Utah State has 2 of them this year. Brito, as you just mentioned, Drew, a great story. 2 years ago, started 23 games. Didn't start a single game last year, but ended up being the 3rd leading scorer, 3rd leading rebounder, and led this team in 3-point shooting. He had a terrific year off the bench for the Aggies.
Here's Brito out of the corner. On cue, knocking down a triple.
That's one of the things Utah State really had going for them last year. They had a terrific bench with him, Dwayne Brown, and Justin Bean coming off the bench with great energy.
Here's the freshman Bairstow showing body control. He's fouled. We'll get the free throws after another timeout. 11:40 to go, opening half, kickoff of college basketball. 17th ranked Utah State by 3 on their home floor.
13-10, Utah State here in Logan, and here is that play. You'll see a whole bunch I talked about earlier. Sam Merrill's about ready to get the ball, a ball screen, and a shooter in the right corner. Okay, run it now. You'll see Merrill get it, bring it off this ball screen here, and if you help there, then they've got a shooter filling there. In that particular play, Sam Merrill took it all the way to the basket for a 3-point play. But you'll see that probably 8, 10, maybe 12 times a game, keeping the ball in Merrill's hands, letting him make that decision.
Sam is getting a respite as he watches Sean Bairstow from Australia. And if that name sounds familiar, well, it should. He's the younger brother of Cam, who was a marvelous player for New Mexico and was eventually drafted by the Chicago Bulls, played in the NBA for a while. He's now playing down under in his homeland, also playing a little bit, I believe, in Lithuania. But Bairstow's not as big as his brother, not as burly as his brother. His brother's more of a 4-5. This kid can play the 3 smaller positions.
Well, Coach Smith said he could very possibly be their backup point guard. He had 7 assists in their exhibition game, and your description of his brother being burly was very descriptive. His brother was big and strong.
Frey with 7 on the shot clock. That's a monster 3. They had been just 2 for 10 over the last few minutes, but Frey with a triple. He's got 5 points, and it's a 1-point game, and there's a steal. Heading the other direction to Damu, and he missed the dunk.
Oh, boy.
And he's going to have to hear about that.
Oh, boy, that'd make a preacher cuss, as they say back in Southern Indiana. High-level athlete, and he just took 2 off the scoreboard there.
He makes a great play defensively, and this should be the easy part, and you can see it coming out of his hand.
Harold Frey, who buried that deep 3, Drew's a career 42% three-point shooter. I mean, he has done it.
And look at that. He nearly had a steal on Brito. Look at the effort. He does have a steal.
Terrific
How
effort.
about that play?
Terrific effort. And I tell you what, nothing can make Danny Sprinkle, the first-year coach, happier than seeing that. And that's coming out of your senior, your leading scorer, your team leader. How can the rest of the team not play at that level when their star's diving on the floor and giving his body up?
He just wanted basketball more.
He did. I'm very, very impressed with this Montana State effort, execution, and how hard they're playing defensively.
Porter for three. Abel Porter. Boy, the season got even better last year, about midway through, when Craig Smith said, you know what? Porter's going to be my starting point guard.
He started the last 17 games, and they won 15 of them, and they made a quantum leap forward once he was inserted to the starting lineup.
Miller. He's tracked down by Kirby. 18-13, 5-point lead for the Aggies. Kirby kicks it back outside. That's a great handoff, and Kirby couldn't complete it after the beautiful pass by Frey.
Frey and Kirby are the only two players.
Porter again. He hadn't hit the rim yet, Coach.
How about that? How about that? Only averaged 5 points last year, known for running the team and assisting. Here's Porter on the first one, Brito to Porter. Usually it's Porter who's dishing out the assist. On these two, he's been the recipient right off of the dribble.
Yeah, the foot was on the line. They're going to knock 1 point off that.
Look, at when I said casually observation last year, or casual observation, they got better. How about these stats to back that up? Look how the team improved when he started at the point guard. Look in particular at these individuals. Sam Merrill's scoring average goes up 5. Cada's goes up 3. Brito goes up 3. Drew, I'm not sure I've ever seen a guy impact the team as much as Abel Porter did when he got inserted into the starting lineup last year.
And even better part of that story, he's originally a walk-on.
You know, I'd forgot this about him. One day he was awarded a scholarship. The next day he was inserted to the starting lineup, and he hit a three-point shot to win the game in the pit against New Mexico, a day after being awarded a scholarship. That's a pretty good story.
Well, he wanted to let Coach Smith know he did the right thing.
Nice investment.
Yeah.
He played at a terrific high school program here in the state of Utah, Davis High School, coached by Chad Sims, an outstanding high school coach. There's no surprise, and I coached for many years here in the state of Utah. I always felt like when I got an in-state kid like him and Brock Miller and Sam Merrill, that you were getting kids who had been well coached in high school and were very, very fundamentally sound. And there's 3 guys there that are just the epitome of that.
3 ball out of the corner. Little bit short from Adamu. 7-point lead for Utah State. Porter penetrates. Miller came up with a loose basketball. Now Miller on a drive. Bean lost it. That's a pretty move. Well done by Michael Paulo.
All 3 of the new junior college players, Paulo, Adamu, and Bello, have played very well in this first half.
Porter lobs and an easy finish for Justin Bean.
Well, he put that right on the money, too.
22-15 Aggies.
Justin Bean, a big, big-time leaper. He's not a huge scorer. He has great instincts and rebounding.
Frey gets his feet set. If he gets his feet set, it's like a layup. 8 points for Frey.
Frey was second team All-Big Sky last year and should have been first team. The only thing that kept him off the first team is the whole first team was all guards, and Big Sky had a boatload of terrific guards, and he was just the one that kind of got left out on that first team.
Well, don't forget his teammate Tyler Hall, who's playing in the G League right now. Tyler Hall's the all-time leading scorer at Montana State. He had him in the backcourt. 7:50 to go before halftime. 22-18 Aggies. Well, it happens occasionally where you can come back home. Danny Sprinkle, who's from Helena, Montana, not widely recruited. He was hurt his senior year. He ends up in Montana State. He was part of their last NCAA tournament team in '96. He's one of their all-time leading scorers. terrific athlete coming out of high school. He's a very good football player as well. In fact, his dad played college football at the University of Washington. His dad later became a coach. Like father, like son, he's come back to Bozeman. And I think just meeting with him today and spending some time, this is going to be a terrific fit. I have no doubt.
Well, very energetic, very charismatic, kind of a player's coach, and got a little edge to him when he needs to. He was a freshman, scored 31 points in the conference championship game, like you said, on the last team of Montana State that went to the NCAA tournament under Mick Durham. But he was a terrific player, and you could just feel it in him, can't you, Drew? I mean, you
want to be around him.
Yeah,
Right. That's why I'm saying he's a lot like Craig Smith. He's somebody that you want to go have a beer with. You want to talk hoops. You want to talk football. It doesn't matter. And when he gets in your home, he's going to be really convincing in an authentic way, as is Coach Smith.
7th all-time leading scorer for the Bobcats.
Here's Frey. That's off the mark. Strong rebound upstairs for Alfonso Anderson, the junior from Seattle.
Frey with 8 points.
There's Anderson on the offensive end with a triple. And the lead jumps to 9 for Utah State. Big answer at the other end from Michael Paulo. He leads Montana State with 8 points here in the first half.
I was just getting ready to say the Bobcats getting a little loose, shooting a little quick, but if you make them, that's pretty good.
Paulo commits his second foul, trying to help out.
Big Trevian Dorius from Wasatch High School, Heber City, right here in the state of Utah.
That's his first college basket.
He was actually a redshirt freshman under Tim Duryea. The previous coach went away on his mission and came back this year. I believe he can help the Aggies a little bit at 7'2", 220.
Shot clock down to 8.
Really good defense by the Aggies.
Frey gets a ball screen for 3. And Dorius had it, comes out to Merrill.
Really, really good possession of half-court defense there.
Quick release, Merrill misses wide right. They've done a good job on crowding him and making him give up the basketball. Merrill is typically very good. We've seen that before. It's not like he's some secret. You see it in Mountain West Conference play all the time. He's very good, though, Coach, at letting the game come to him. And then at the end of the night, you say, wait, he had 25 points.
Well, no, he's a very quiet scorer. In this game last year, the opening game against Montana State, he had 5 made threes on his way to 37 points. And you're exactly right. That's because he doesn't do anything flashy. He does everything right, but maybe not so flashy.
Bello missed on a little jump hook. Here's Porter. And Dorius had it, and it's taken away underneath. 5:45 to go, 8-point lead for Utah State. We're in half number 1 as we kick off the college basketball season from Logan, Utah. Frey, what a crossover and a finish. Well done by Harold Frey. He's got 10.
Very, very crafty off the dribble to split that double team off the ball screen. It takes a real high level of skill.
He was playing on the Norwegian national team this summer. The kids from Europe who are highly skilled, they're used to playing with grown men.
Well, no question about that, and no question about the solidness or the fundamentals of the European players. That time, big Dorius, the 7-foot kid from Heber City, got too far away from that ball screen. He left a wide gap for Frey to dribble through, and a little bit of a small defensive breakdown by the kid who hadn't played for 2 years.
Porter going out. Fernandez, number 23 in blue, you see coming in for Montana State. Montana State with 10 fouls, so double bonus opportunity for Utah State. Dorius 0 for 3 from the line. 29-23. Frey checked by Diego Brito.
Wow, what a great
pass. That's
pass.
going to be a foul on Dorius.
Harold Frey is putting on a show in terms of ball handling skills. That pass, it was just like a crack in the door there. He put that through. Boy, he's having a great first half.
You know what I find always entertaining about this time of year, the non-conference schedule, and you coach in the Big Sky. You know how competitive that league is. We obviously know how good a league the Mountain West is. That's a kick. But you always like to go back. When you see a team, you say, boy, you know what? They're kind of intriguing, and you kind of follow them from afar. I don't think this is going out on a limb. Montana State last year was 15-17. There's no way they're an under 500 basketball team this year.
You don't think so? They're picked 7th in the Big Sky right now. It's a good year in the Big Sky from top to bottom, but how hard they're playing, what they're doing defensively. Let's don't even talk about the offense. They are vastly improved, in my mind, from where they were last year.
Here's Frey, no go. Boy, Bello competes for every rebound.
He does. He's getting tired now. He's, this first Division I game for a junior college guy. Speaking of nice passes, that's where we're talking about Sam Merrill. If you're kind of casually watching the game, you don't even notice what a great pass that was by Merrill. Going away from the play, watch this. Coming off of this ball screen by Bean here. Doesn't even pick it up with 2 hands. Justin Bean misses one point blank. But Merrill put that right on the money. You're seeing between Merrill and Frey, 2 guards that just have a real high level of skill in terms of dribbling, passing, making the right decisions. 2 outstanding guards.
You also see some rough edges this time of year.
Yeah,
you've been practicing one exhibition for each school. We've seen some shots that have been missed that I think ordinarily would be makes. Bean goes 1 out of 2, goes to Utah State on that loose basketball.
But you know what? This is a pretty darn competitive game right now. What I appreciate about it, you're right, it's a little raggedy at times. Boy, both teams playing hard, both teams guarding really hard. A little raggedy offensively at times, but not terribly bad.
That's travel on Anderson.
Anderson's one of those junior college kids who's going to have to learn to let the game kind of come to him. He has done some very athletic things so far. He's made a couple of mistakes in transition defense, trying a little bit too hard to make an impression his first game here as an Aggie.
What a great place to come play college basketball. There's such great history. Wonderful seasons under Stu Morrill. And it's continuing with Coach Smith. And you're going to play in front of big crowds and raucous crowds.
It's important up here. This is the 50th year of the D Spectrum Event Center here. There's been an awful lot of good teams and great players come through here. I coached here as the interim head coach at the University of Utah, and then several times as a coach at Weber State. People ask me what it was like to coach and play up here. I told them one time we almost won, and I went home and had a party. We almost won. I never scratched up here, boy. I tell you, it was hard to win up here.
'28 wins, Utah State, first-year head coach record, 28-7 overall, 15-3 in the conference. Adamu misses both free throws, but he gets it back.
Utah State also broke 2 school records last year. You talk about a long history of basketball. They blocked more shots than ever in school history. They scored more points ever in the history of the school.
Got a whistle and another foul on Utah State. 3:58 to go before halftime. We'll take another break. 30-23. Mountain West basketball on AT&T Sportsnet is brought to you by the Moab Travel Council. Begin your Moab adventure. Plan your trip today at discovermoab.com. And by Maaco, visit your local Maaco and turn the car you drive into the car you love. That is the jumbo size cotton candy. That's the family size. That's the neighborhood size, actually. 17th ranked Utah State by 7 with Joe Cravens. I'm Drew Goodman as we kick off college basketball Mountain West Conference style on AT&T Sportsnet. Last year, the conference had 4 players drafted by the NBA. A couple teams going to the NCAA tournament, Nevada and Utah State naturally. And we're biased, but you go around the country, there aren't many conferences that top to bottom are going to match what we see year in and year out with Mountain West. Now, obviously, you go to the ACC, you go to the Big Ten, the SEC, you're going to see some really elite, top-flight programs. But this is such a well-coached league, and there's some really good players in it year in and year out.
Well, if you are a true fan and not what I call a basketball snob that thinks they only play in the ACC or the SEC, the Mountain West Conference is a terrific league. Always really good guard play. Very, very well coached night in, night out. I think it is one of the most exciting leagues in all of college basketball.
And Justin Bean back to the line. And he knocks down that free throw. Sophomore from Moore, Oklahoma.
Excuse me, Drew. Justin Bean, part of that terrific bench last year for Utah State. He, Dwayne Brown, and Brito, who scored, their bench scored 25 points 20 times, 25 or more, 20 times last year. Imagine that. That had to be maybe one of the top in all of college basketball last year. Both teams have been straight man-to-man. Montana State has zoned a couple out-of-bounds plays.
Adamu waits for the skies to clear and flushes it.
Great pass by Adamu to Big Bello. I think if I were scouting for down the road, Adamu has blown by guys with his left hand because he is left-handed. I'd play him about a half a man to his left and see if he couldn't go right, because we hadn't seen him go right all night, but he's made some terrific plays going left.
Yeah, let me correct that. I thought they called a foul on Bean. They did not. They called a technical. And so Sam Merrill converts on one end, and now Utah State will have the basketball.
Was that like a taunting foul or something?
Was it hanging on the rim? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either, but that sure hurt Montana State. Did they take the basket away? I'm not even sure they gave them.
No, they gave them the basket.
Okay.
32-26. And we're told that it was for hanging on the rim for too long. Weak side rebound. Here comes Adamu.
Adamu played at Casper College last year, a team that went 32-2 and won their junior college regional for the first time in 23 years.
High arcing three, knocked down by Layden Ricketts, who may be their best three-point shooter. He's battled calf injuries this year and at different times in his career, but that was a pretty shot, and then you get a block at the other end. Here's Brito.
Ricketts was the 4th leading three-point shooter in the league last year. Got hurt late in the season, didn't play in the conference tournament, but he is a big-time three-point shooter.
Merrill crosses over, gets in traffic, and he gets knocked to the floor. He'll get a couple free throws with 2:09 to go in a three-point game. We're in the first half.
Montana State's done a great job of spacing the floor and finding open men. This is a great example. Look at Frey throwing it all the way across court, and a great catch and shoot by Layden Ricketts.
Got to be impressed with Frey.
Boy, he is really kind of put on a show here in this first half.
Miller comes back in, and Dorius checks out. Merrill missed a free throw. He might not miss another free throw in the month of November.
The leading free throw shooter in the Mountain West Conference last year at 90%.
Frey to work, and that'll be a bumping foul on Bean.
Boy, Frey is just putting the ball. You talk about painting the corners as a baseball pitcher. This kid is just painting the corners. He's putting the ball right where it has to be on lobs, on cross-court passes. He has just been outstanding here in this first half.
Very impressive.
Third in the history of Montana State with made threes, fifth in assists.
Jabril Bello makes that free throw. Here's 5 out of 10 from the line. Utah State 9 for 17, so neither school shooting particularly from the line. That's surprising for Utah State. Last year, 75% led the Mountain West Conference.
The big Jabril Bello has kind of got his second win. Remember, about 5 minutes ago, I said he was kind of winded. He's kind of got it back now and playing with a lot of energy.
Brito, and now Montana State can tie it up or take the lead late stages of the first half. They were down by 9 a few minutes ago.
Well, Utah State has had some good looks at three, but I'm not too sure they haven't kind of fallen in love with the three and not gotten the ball down low for a long time.
Winston Stith, our referee, made a good call. He shuffled his feet. Bello turns it over. Abel Porter back in, looks at his coach for a set play. 1:20 to go in the first half. 33-31, Utah State.
And with all that size, Drew, Utah State, they're playing a small lineup now with Justin Bean at 6'7", playing the post, basically 4 guards around him.
Porter misses. Tell you what, Adamu's been everywhere, hasn't he?
High level athlete. I tell you, you can see why Casper College went 32-2 last year. This kid is a great pickup for Coach Sprinkle in his first year at Montana State.
Ricketts a little pull up. Merrill pulls down the rebound. And Sam got fouled. He'll get free throws at the other end. The foul, I believe, will be on Finn Floite.
It's kind of interesting with Coach Smith. I think he's looking at a lot of different lineups now, but again, staying extended minutes with this small lineup, and it's not really to match a small lineup for the Bobcats. They have the big German in there and big Bello as well.
You know what Coach Smith told us earlier, and it's kind of right on the money. Yeah, they have a lot of players back, especially as we were talking about when Nimi Keita comes back in a few weeks, hopefully from that knee injury, one of the real gifted big men in college basketball. It's led by Merrill, but other than that, he's got a slew of new players.
No question. No question. He's got 6 new players and
20 a game in Big Sky Conference play. Porter gives it up. Brito, good look for 3. And there's Bean again, and then a reach-in foul on Adamu.
And Utah State's getting pretty good looks from the three-point line. They just haven't made one for a while. And Justin Bean is a guy that just has a nose for rebounding. He's got great instincts. Last year he had a monster game in the second game in the Mountain West Conference against New Mexico, where he had 14 points, 15 rebounds against that huge front line of New Mexico's. He has a knack for rebounding. Part of that is he goes after an awful lot of rebounds. He's got a big heart.
Well, Joe, to your point on the shooting, Utah State, good looks. They're just not going down. They're 10 for 29.
Well, that's a lot. That's a lot of shots.
Especially for a team that shares it as well as they do, so typically gets good shots. And a year ago, again, this is the first half of the first game of the year. A year ago, they were one of the best shooting teams in the West.
Yes.
9 seconds to go in a very competitive first half. Frey against Abel Porter. And he gets the shot rejected by the 7'2", Trevin Dorius. Actually, let me correct it. That's Kuba Karvovsky. Kuba Karvovsky with the help. Well, Aggie fans are used to seeing that from Keita. And another block by Karvovsky. And a third, perhaps. That will end a very entertaining first half. So Utah State didn't shoot it well, but they'll take a 3-point lead to the break on Montana State. First game as the head man for the former Bobcat, Danny Sprinkle. Coming up the half, Craig Smith goes one-on-one with our Jenny Cavnar. You're watching Mountain West basketball on AT&T Sportsnet. 50th year of basketball at the Spectrum in Logan, Utah. And at the break, 17th ranked Utah State, leading 37-34 over Montana State. Drew Goodman back courtside. A lot of great memories from a year ago. Conference champions, tournament championship for Utah State. And their first-year coach last year, Craig Smith, had an opportunity this year to talk about expectations in year two with our Jenny Cavnar.
Congratulations on such a fantastic season last year. I remember talking to you at a point where you're like, yeah, we kind of knew what we had going, and then you get going throughout the season, and obviously magic was unfolding before our eyes. How do you rise to the next level now and meet those expectations and exceed them this season?
Yeah, I think, that's more for the external people. I think, I know this is a little cliche-ish, but it's true. We're not just gonna all of a sudden try harder. You know what I mean? Like, oh, now we gotta try harder than we did last year, guys. Like, it doesn't work like that, right? So we have I'm very, very fortunate. I said after we lost in the NCAA tournament last year that, I've been coaching for 23 years, and I hope that every coach, whether it's a football coach, a softball coach, a soccer coach, at some point in their life gets to coach a team that we got to coach last year, because truly it felt like a coach / a parent to see where we were last spring when we started, right when we got hired, and then throughout the summer, and then in the fall, and then obviously in the games. And there was just a natural progression that was like, I don't have a musical bone in my body except when I dance. I'm kidding, kind of. But it just, like, this crescendo happened, and it really peaked, late in the year. And so it's really exciting. But if what you did yesterday was a big deal, you haven't done much today. And so we have an entirely different team. Now, granted, we returned 6 of our best players and most of our production, but we really have 9 new players in our program. So in a lot of ways, we're starting all over to see who can do what, for us. But what's exciting is our returning guys have such a winner's mentality. And it's crazy. We have the 3rd most wins in the history of the school, right? Preseason number 9, and we're an 8th seed in the NCAA tournament. But yet, at the end of the day, when we lost to Washington in the NCAA tournament, it left a really bitter taste in our mouth. And our guys have worked extremely hard over the summer to be better. And so we're excited what the season brings to us. But, it's truly going to be a day-to-day process.
One of the things that Coach Smith added is you look at the preseason poll, they're the first unanimous favorite in the history of the Mountain West Conference. San Diego State, New Mexico, 2-3. Nevada, obviously they lost a lot of talent. They're still picked 4th. But one of the things Coach Smith told Jenny and told us today is they have a chip on their shoulder. Yeah, they accomplished a lot last year, but that loss in the NCAA tournament to Washington did not sit well. So they're highly motivated in year 2 of the Craig Smith era. Logan, Utah, and Utah State leading by 3 at the break. Good basketball game. Back in Logan, Utah, set for the second half with Joe Cravens. I'm Drew Goodman. Utah State 37-34. What you may not know is that this is actually a very long-standing rivalry between Utah State and Montana State. It goes back more than 100 years. Tonight is the 119th meeting. 78 wins against 40 losses for Utah State. The Bobcats of Montana State, they drove down 5.5 hours from Bozeman to Logan. If you're not familiar geographically, Logan, Utah, in the northern portion of the state of Utah.
Welcome to the Big Sky. When I coached 2 different schools in the Big Sky, and a few years we played back-to-back nights, Friday and Saturday night, where you'd play at Montana, drive over to Montana State, vice versa. I'm telling you, there was nothing easy about traveling the Big Sky Conference.
Frey has it rejected by Bean. Montana State gets it back. And then a whistle on that drive by Adamu. So this foul be on the Aggies.
There's Adamu going left again. Drew, kind of an oddity in that 119 times over so many years these two teams have played. In 2001 and 2002, they played 3 times in the same year. I don't know that I've ever seen that in all my years of being involved with college basketball.
That will be a turnover.
There's Harold Fry again on the floor. He has been on the floor individually more than most of these two teams have been collectively.
He's a hard-playing kid.
Boy, he plays hard.
Both those number 5s play hard. Here's Merrill. He draws a double team, stays with the basketball. Left-handed layup. Good. You can see, you know what? He's going to take it upon himself to get them going offensively. And the left-handed layup is good.
You know, a real subtlety of his game, Drew, when he drives and he meets contact, he keeps his shoulders lower than the defensive shoulders, and he just simply kind of walks by you, just like he did then, getting to his left hand, and then it's easy kiss off the glass.
Floater no good. Loose basketball comes to Bean, who's had an active ball game here.
That's Bean's 9th rebound.
That's active. Here's Porter on a drive, and he's fouled.
And look, there was Bean almost with his 10th rebound. He's a kid, like I said, who has great instincts. Watch Sam Merrill now on this drive, Drew, as he hits. He comes right, comes back left. Watch how he keeps his shoulders lower than the defensive shoulders, and he just keeps coming. Fry and Merrill having a conversation there at the top of the key. 2 awfully good players.
Well, you coach forever. When you're not shooting the ball well from the perimeter, what did you tell your team?
Just do something hard to get something easy. Rebound, run the floor, play defense, help the team.
First 2 possessions, that's exactly what they tried to do. Get the ball in the paint, try to get something going to the rim. And they get 3 points out of it. High arcing shot knocked down by Adamu.
Well, as you said, I coached for many years, and I would have made a mistake on Adamu. I said I would have forced him right. He just went right and made a basket there.
There's Sam Merrill with the stop and pop. Montana State runs a little weave out front. They want to get it to Bello, post up. 5 to shoot it. Frey with a man hanging all over him.
Wow.
Harold Frey. He's got 16.
I'm a little bit surprised, Drew, that Utah State's coming to double team the post when they've got a 7'2" post player playing defense there. Now, I'm not second guessing that. Maybe they want to use that as kind of part of their toolbox defensively, but I don't think with Karvosky playing behind you necessarily you need to double team. But you know, I haven't made any mistakes as an announcer. Craig Smith knows his team a lot better than I do.
15 on the shot clock.
Whoa.
Frey almost dragged his foot for a walk. And now away from the basketball, we got a foul on Abel Porter.
Watch Frey with Porter on him. Porter makes a little bit of mistake by dropping his hand. Not much of a mistake. I tell you, it'd be hard for me to fault him there. Frey kind of stepped him off, looked him off a little bit, and just jumped up and shot it in.
Merrill slapped it away. Tried to sell that it was off of Montana State.
That last foul was on Abel Porter. They switched that ball screen, and Bello rolled to the post, and there was kind of a mismatch between Abel Porter And Bello.
Frey,
Wow.
that should be a 4-pointer.
Wow.
Frey's got 19, and we are tied at 42. A little more than 3 minutes into the second half.
Harold Frey had 13 in this game last year, only 4 of 13 from the field and 2 of 7 from the three-point line, but he has heated up this one.
And Merrill with an answer. Folks in the first half were unfamiliar with Sam Merrill and say, okay, what's all the fuss about? I think now you're seeing what the fuss is about.
And you made a great point at halftime. You said both teams will shoot better this half, and they have. They have kind of got that first game butterflies out of the way, and they are both kind of in a zone now.
16 for Merrill. That's a travel, and it'll go back to Utah State. 45-42. Here's Frey. That's a monster three.
That's from downtown Bozeman or downtown Oslo. And watch, Merrill has such a beautiful jump shot. It gets to it so easy and such great footwork.
You know what, and some guys, it's easier to tuck that elbow into the shooting slot off the left-hand dribble. He curled to his right, and he still gets that elbow tight to his body.
He is so fundamentally sound. I talked about how well coached these guys from Utah are. His coach at Bountiful High School, Mike Maxwell, did a great job with Sam Merrill getting him ready for this level. 3-point Aggie lead here in the 50th year of the Spectrum.
My name is Sam Merrill. I'm from Utah State University.
If you could be in the NBA for a day, pick a player, who would you want to be for the day and why?
Probably have to say Steph Curry, because it would be so fun to just be able to jack from half court and feel like every shot's going in. Actually, let me change that. I would like to be a super good athlete, like Zach LaVine maybe, and just be able to dunk everything. Because I'm a pretty good shooter. I'm obviously not Steph's level, but that's a changed answer. I would like to be someone that could dunk anything.
Maybe a combination of the two, right?
You know, it's really funny he said that, because talking to Coach Smith today, and of course he can't say enough good things about Sam Merrill. No one can say enough good things about him, but he said he's the only guy in the league that averaged over 20 points last year and didn't have a single dunk. And I wasn't going to mention that, because certainly I didn't want to embarrass Sam, not that I don't think I could embarrass him anyway. But it's really funny he said that then on media day.
Well, Merrill's got 18, and Harold Frey has 19. 5-point lead for Utah State. They led by as many as 9 in the first half. Here's Frey. Back at you, he says.
Boy, and he came off that high ball screen. Sam Merrill was guarding him. Sam got hit squarely off that ball screen. Got no help on that, and Frey just very easily stepped back and shot it in.
Good hard drive by Justin Bean.
Nothing pretty about Justin Bean's game, but every team should have a couple of them like him. Boy, he just sticks his nose in there and rebounds and plays
Frey
hard.
count the basket as Bean fouled him.
Watch this instinctive back cut by Harold Frey. Anytime there's a man between you and the basket, we didn't go back quite far enough, but that was just great basketball instincts there. Watch this, terrific back cut by Harold Frey. And he and Sam Merrill are just kind of having an old-fashioned shootout right now.
They're putting on a show.
They certainly are.
In the second half. That is point number 25 for Harold Frey. 6'2" senior from Oslo, Norway. 49-46 Utah State. Bean working on a double-double potentially. He's got 10 points, 9 rebounds, and he's going to get free throws here as he collided with Finn Flostay. That'll be 2 on Flostay.
And Drew, you made a great point there in the first half. Harold Frey averaged 17 last year, but he played alongside of the all-time leading scorer, not just at Montana State, but in the Big Sky. Tyler Hall scored over 2,500 points, and Frey kind of requiesced to him virtually every night on the court. Now it's just his show, and boy, he has gotten off to a great start here in the first game of the year.
Bean goes 1 out of 2. 50-46, 5 minutes into the second half.
Now they've switched assignments. They have the bigger Brito guarding him. A lot better job of guarding the ball screen there when Frey came off of it.
Merrill will glide in and lay it home. Merrill looking for the and one.
And who came up with that loose ball? Mr. Dirty Work, Justin Bean. The kid, I said nothing pretty about his game. He just makes every tough play.
Zach Hobbs on the floor. And the freshman got fouled on the dribble handoff. Here's the loose ball. Merrill ends up ultimately with a layup.
Justin Bean started down in the low post, and he was the guy that came up with that loose ball at almost half court.
Five to shoot it. I'll take the 5-pointer. It's going to go off the back of the rim. Everything he puts up, it's like he and Merrill are the same in that everything they put up looks like it's going to go in.
You know, and he shot that so easy. It wasn't like he really had to heave that up there. He's got great legs on his jump shot to start off with.
Would you state that in all your years coaching, now you get to sit next to me on a regular basis?
What a deal.
Well, I don't know how good a deal that one is. But kids earlier now not only shoot it better, but can shoot it more comfortably from distance. Fair statement?
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement, and I'll give you a pretty good story that backs that up, that kids are shooting. I came out real early for Utah State shoot-around today, and there was three guys on the floor. Sam Merrill was on the floor shooting. The other two was Trevin Dorius at 7 foot and Kuba Karvosky, and all three of them were shooting three-pointers. Yeah. Karvosky at 7'2", was standing at the three-point line, shooting three-pointer after three-pointer.
Well, he's a Euro big. Here's Merrill, step-away jumper, back of the iron, no good, pulled down by Bello.
Bello doing a yeoman-type work on the glass for the Bobcats.
Brito nearly with a steal, and then it's going to be a loose ball foul, and it's going to be on Diego Brito. Great hustle, and sometimes these loose ball fouls end up happening when there's a loose basketball.
Diego Brito, in my mind, was a real unsung hero in that team that won 28 games last year. Terrific player off the bench. In a different year, he would have been sixth man of the year for the Mountain West.
How about the late season atmosphere here in Logan when Utah State beat Nevada? And the all-time crowds at the Spectrum. Runner no good, and it's off of Clay Stahl, excuse me. It is off of Quinlan out of bounds.
Really good individual defense by Abel Porter there. Just kind of squaring Adamu up, making Adamu take a tough shot. Porter stayed down, kept his hand over the ball. Outstanding one-on-one defense. Still a 4-point game.
Yeah, Utah State's getting all they want from Montana State. And another foul going after the basketball. I think this is going to be on Bean.
Harold Frey is going to be sore after this game. He has been on the floor, knocked to the floor, dove to the floor. He is not, as the old saying goes, he's not leaving anything on the floor in this game.
He's leaving,
skin.
Burns.
Yeah.
Floor burns. He's going to go out for a moment. Michael Paulo, who has 3 fouls, replaces him. Brito up on Paulo. Frey won't be out long. You can see the offense doesn't run as smoothly without him out there. Paulo inside, that's a great look.
Terrific
and a flush
play
for Bello. He went up, I think, with the intent to shoot it, Coach.
Yeah, and he had an open shot and saw Bello rolling to the basket. That was a terrific pass by the junior from Toronto, Canada.
Kuba Karvosky, 7'2" young man from Poland, comes back on the floor for Utah State. 52-50. Miller's been pretty quiet today. Brock Miller, he had the early three.
Yeah.
I mean, the opening moments of the game, and he's not scored since then. And he's a guy that you figure is going to be a low double-digit scorer this year for Utah State.
No question. He averaged a little over 8 last year, which was 4th on the team. Set 2 freshman records. He and Keita started 35 games apiece, which was a freshman record. And Brock Miller also set a freshman record for the most 3-point shots attempted.
Brito misses, and now the Bobcats can tie it up or maybe take the lead. Paulo. And that goes in and out for Adamu, and another opportunity. Didn't work. Harvosky cleans the glass for Utah State.
Had 2 chances to tie it up there.
Brito's going to try again, and this one misses everything. Miller saved it, but he saved it to Montana State.
Bad miss by Brito there, but the guy that led the team in 3-point shooting.
That's going to be a foul on Ricketts. Timeout on the floor, 11:41 to go, second half. It is most interesting, 2-point lead for Utah State. Make sure you tune in Saturday night when Loyola Marymount and Mike Dunlap, they'll be in Nevada to take on Steve Alford and the Wolfpack. Coverage starts at 8 p.m. Mountain on AT&T Sportsnet, your home for Mountain West basketball. New era for Nevada, perhaps. Coach Alford back in the league.
Steve Alford, 14 wins away from his 600th win.
Eric Musselman now down in Fayetteville.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see how that turns out.
And that is a holding foul on Adamu as Sam Merrill was trying to get to the basketball. 11:32 to play. 17th ranked Utah State clinging to a 2-point lead on Montana State as Merrill goes back to the line. 17 fouls now on Montana State, 6 on Utah State. You put a guy who's automatic at the stripe in Merrill. That is his 11th attempt tonight. He's made 10 from the line.
He missed one?
He missed one. We told you that's going to be the last one he misses in November.
That may be his first free throw of the night, wasn't it, that he missed?
It was his 5th.
He led the Mountain West Conference in free throw shooting last year at 90%. The Bobcats, one reason they've been able to hang in there, they have out-rebounded Utah only by 1. Remember, Utah State had an 8-rebound advantage at halftime, and the Bobcats have kind of cut into that here in the second half.
Jabril Bellows made his presence felt inside. He's going to get a couple free throws. Now both teams over the limit.
Jabril Bellows from Lamar Junior College in Colorado had knee surgery his first year there, so only played 1 year. And the Bobcats get him for 3 years. This one plus 2 more, Drew, and I'm telling you, he's a very, very good looking inside player for the Big Sky.
So he knocks down the second, 54-51. Last year, Montana captured the Big Sky. It's normally the domain of that school you coach, Weber State.
Well, for many years, it was about a 2-team race there. And now that league has gotten a lot better from top to bottom. Southern Utah is very good. Portland State is very talented. Eastern Washington actually picked by the coaches to win the league this year.
One thing Craig Smith said about the Mountain West, he said, tough last year, typically tough. He said, this year it is going to be really deep, and he went on to embellish that statement by saying, I don't think it's going to be any surprise if the number 7 team or number 8 team in the league knocks off the number 2 team in conference play. Because to me, that's not going to be a big upset. He said that's how deep it is, really probably the first 9 teams.
He would know all about that, being picked number 9 last year and ended up winning the league. They had 9 road wins last year, Drew. Utah State did, which led the league. What they accomplished last year, I can't imagine there was another team in the nation that was picked lower in their league and then went on to win the regular season and the conference tournament.
Especially when you had a Sweet 16 team returning,
No
who was the prohibitive favorite because they returned everybody in Nevada. And Nevada had a good year.
No question about it. Utah State had that terrific chemistry last year, and let's see if they can keep it. I thought Nevada peaked early and lost some of their chemistry by the end of the year last year.
Merrill, he gets bumped out of bounds. It'll stay with Utah State. 10:29 to play. It's 54-53, a 1-point lead for the Aggies. Frey with 27 points. Is that any good?
Not too bad.
Merrill's got 22.
I tell you, Montana State has done a great job of guarding the out-of-bounds plays by Utah State.
Oh, great crossover dribble. Turned into an easy 2. It didn't look like it was going to be that easy for Michael Paulo. First hoop, second half, he's got 10.
And
Now
Montana
whistle
State
at
takes
the other
the lead.
end. That's going to be on Adamu, and they do take the lead. 55-54. That's got to be their first lead since very early in the game.
And see, there was another great point guard pass. It didn't look like much, but Frey throwing the ball ahead at exact right time. I want to revisit a point I made, Drew, about what a great job Montana State has done guarding Utah State's in-out-of-bounds plays. I sat through their shoot-around today, and it was as succinct and instructional as any I've ever seen, and I'm very proud of that because it was led by a former player of mine. Sean Durden is Danny Sprinkle's assistant. The second time they worked together, there he is, played for me at the University of Idaho, an outstanding shooter, and he has turned into an outstanding college coach. He left a head Division II coach to come work for Danny Sprinkle at Northern Oklahoma. But I'm telling you, he was as detailed as any coach I've seen in any of these shoot-arounds I've seen.
Made you proud, didn't it?
Made me very proud. Yes, it did.
Ought to.
Now, he may not be so proud of me thinking about some of the things I said to him as a coach.
But now he says the same thing because he's grown up and now he's dealing with 18, 19-year-olds.
Hopefully his long-term memory is not real good.
56-55, Utah State back in front. Now here comes Montana State the other way. And what a pretty layup by Adamu.
That kid can literally fly. Coming from Casper College, where he played for the other assistant at Montana State, Dan Russell. He is terrific in the open court.
They had not led since the first 5 minutes of the game. Miller gets jumped. Abel Porter with 10 on the shot clock. I think the crowd's a little shocked. As Brito, that's great late offense.
Wow.
Makes a cut, sped on the baseline, and Utah State goes back up by 1. But I think the crowd felt that this is going to be about a 20-point game at this juncture, right?
No question. What a great pass by Abel Porter, the outstanding point guard. And a great cut by Brito, the outstanding sixth man. The Aggies got their hands full here tonight in Logan, up 1, 58-57.
Mountain West Basketball on ATT Sportsnet is brought to you by Steel. Find your Steel dealer at steeldealers.com. I love coming here to Spectrum. It's always raucous. The students are always heavily involved, and they're very cautious also as they take good care. You never want the mascot to hit the ground.
You know, I really like coming here as a coach. I didn't like coming here a whole lot as a commentator. I didn't like coming here much as a coach.
I understand that.
This was a little bit like going to the dentist and getting a root canal when I used to come up here to play.
Aggies by 1. Merrill nearly had a steal. Here's Frey with Brito on him. 27 in the game. Goes away from the ball screen. Brito a reach in.
I tell you, Frey
remember, both teams over the limit, so it's going to be a 1-and-1 for Frey.
Frey is really hard to guard off that ball screen because he takes it to the point of the ball screen. He creates a little space. It makes you guess what he's going to do, and then he is really explosive off that next move. He's as good as about anyone I've seen coming off that ball screen. I guess that's the reason they set a lot of ball screens for him, because he's pretty good. Montana State shooting 57% this half year.
Yep, both teams were shooting it well in the second half. That free throw ties up the game at 58. And now the psychology major puts Montana State back up by 1.
29 points for Frey now. Frey had 13 in this opening game last year and didn't shoot it very well. Of course, I imagine the Aggies had quite a bit to do with that.
A double Merrill, just trying to get it out of his hands, and he gives it up to an open Miller. And Miller unable to connect. Here's Frey leading the 3-on-3.
And that's usually
Paulo lets fly, too strong.
That's where Miller's bread is buttered, playing off that draw and kick.
Well, Bello got the rebound, but then he traveled. What did you want in game 1 on the teams that you had that were really good? Did you want really tight competition, or did you hope, all right, good half, but I would like to win by, I mean, you want to win by 20 every night. I understand that, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm asking.
No, I wanted to win big early. You know, I wanted to be tested a little bit, but I wanted to win big early to get a little confidence. And then I could tell our guys, look, we weren't playing the Celtics, you understand. I mean, we won by 20, but they're getting a little bit more than what they wanted tonight, I think the Aggies are.
Well, no question. If you ask Coach Smith right now, Danny Sprinkle's team up by 1. We go around the Mountain West as college basketball opens up. 15th ranked Oregon, 14 better than Fresno State tonight. Wyoming, they beat Idaho State. Maldonado back healthy, 32 points. Colorado State's going to be improved. Nico Medved's team beats the University of Denver by 11. Boise State winning big. San Diego State winning big in the second half. UNLV winning big. And at the half in Reno, team you coached, the University of Utah, by 5. That's a good matchup. The Utes and the Wolfpack.
Steve Alford's first home game at the University of Nevada.
A lot of new players for the Wolfpack. So here we go. 1-point lead for the Bobcats of Montana State, and they have the basketball. Paulo. Fernandez hands off to Frey, 12 on the shot clock. The lob and the finish, how good was that? What an easy pass and bucket for Bello. Frey has been outstanding.
His season high last year's career high, 32. He's only 1 basket away from that right now, 1 point away.
That'll be a foul on Bello.
What's this great pass by Harold Frey. And that was a bad matchup for Brock Miller. Brock Miller is a good defender, but he's not good enough to stay in front of an outstanding point guard like Harold Frey. Harold Frey does a great job. I talked about him coming off those ball screens, how he creates space and he stands you up. He gives you that little hesitation, makes you kind of come up out of stance, and then, like I said, he can really explode off the dribble then.
Alfonso Anderson makes the first free throw, 7:02 left. And you start to wonder, you know, Sam Merrill took the game over early in the first half, or excuse me, in the second half. And you got to figure that he's going to be looking to do the same thing. But good coaching by Coach Sprinkle. I mean, he's running 2 guys at number 5 every time he touches it. Speaking of 2 guys on a player, 2 guys run it. Bray, he has to give it up. Fernandez wheels inside, lucky to get it back. Paulo 3-ball. And a good, strong rebound by Anderson, a loose ball foul against Montana State. So free throws coming for Anderson, and he can give Utah State the lead again. That's 4 fouls on Bello. And that's an automatic 2-shot foul, that being the 10th foul on Montana State.
Well, guy we haven't seen a whole lot of is coming in for Bello now. Devin Kirby has only played 14 minutes tonight. Has not scored a point. He started all 35 games for the Bobcats last year. Not a huge score, but he did average 8 points, 5 rebounds. He has just hadn't seen a whole lot of playing time tonight.
1 point lead for Utah State. Alfonso Anderson, 4 straight free throws. 6.5 to play, 62-61, Aggies. Here's Frey against Porter. He's gonna come and get the basketball back. They isolate. Long three, nothing but the cords again.
Wow.
32, matching his career high.
And he is just throwing it in from the three-point line. 6 of 9 to this point in the game.
Here's Merrill. He drives, he got stripped cleanly from behind. Here's Paulo, 1 to beat, it's Porter. Goes right at him, good block by Porter. Nope, he fouled him. Hard to hear in here.
Yes, it is.
You mentioned 6 out of 9 from three-point range. They moved the three-point line back. We talked about it earlier. It's the international line. That's well beyond where the NBA line would be. And many of his threes have been out there.
Maybe that has something to do with the international three-point line. He's an international kid. That didn't make any difference to him. From Oslo, Norway.
I love the crowd here. Ball don't lie. Merrill pulls the rebound down as Paulo misses both. 64-62 Montana State. Porter a drive and he's fouled. And that will be 2 free throws coming up for Abel Porter.
Only the second foul on Frey.
Shooting 2.
Abel Porter, 71% free throw shooter last year. He didn't get there a ton, 66 times, but he didn't play just a whole lot in those first.
Crew Ainge was the starting point guard the first half of the year. He's since transferred.
Boy, when Abel Porter got his opportunity, though, there was no looking back. Started at last 17 games, and they won 15 of them.
Tied at 64, 5.5 to play. Here's Frey to his dominant hand. That's too easy if you're Utah State. 34 for Frey, a new career best.
Ball screen defense in this day and age, if it has a crack in it, that's what happens.
Anderson tried to keep it alive off the Brito miss. Fernandez 3-ball, look out.
My, what was that young freshman thinking about?
Merrill drives, Merrill, a lot of contact, looking for the whistle, there was none.
I tell you, the Bobcats got a break then after Fernandez threw that prayer up there. A freshman in his first game, again, not sure what he was thinking, and then Merrill didn't get the call.
Bad pass there, taken away by Anderson. That was a flop, Anderson makes the bucket. And we're tied at 66. Anderson has given Utah State a lift the last couple of minutes at the free throw line, and with that make, timeout Montana State. What a way to kick off the college basketball season. The 17th ranked Aggies on their home floor getting all they want from Montana State. Sam Merrill tonight has done his thing. They're going to need him in a big way down the stretch because his counterpart, Harold Frey, has poured in a career best 34 points on 10 of 17 from the floor. And a career best 6 makes from 3-point range.
And he's done more than just shoot it in. He's 6 for 9, but like I said at halftime, he has almost willed his team into a tie game here with 4:21 left. Great effort, great decisions, scoring on an array of moves to the basket. Now remember last year, it was that guy right there who had 37 against the Bobcats, and Harold Frey's kind of turned the tables a little bit. Obviously, big possession here for the Bobcats. I thought that was a great timeout by Danny Sprinkle, although that leaves him with only 1 timeout here in the last 4 minutes.
3 to shoot it. Another 3 ball from deep, and it comes down to Sam Merrill. Merrill's taken, by the way, just 2 threes tonight. He's made 1 of the 2. Anderson gets bumped. Free throws again for Anderson as Paulo commits his 4th. That will be another timeout. That's a media timeout coming with 3:49 to play. Well, maybe not. No media timeout here. So Anderson, 4-4 from the line. The junior from Seattle.
9 points, 5 rebounds for Anderson. 10 now.
You can't emphasize it enough in college basketball in particular. Close games, conference games in particular, obviously this is a non-conference game, so often comes down to which team makes their free throws down the stretch.
No question.
Kirby checks out.
Utah State, as we mentioned earlier, 74% free throw shooting team overall, which is outstanding last year.
2-point lead for the Aggies. Anderson's perfect from the line. 6 out of 6. And that is a foul on Paulo, and he's gone. He ran into Sam Merrill, and instead of setting a screen, it was more of a read-down block. And that fouls out Paulo.
And that not only fouls out Paulo, that may have taken a layup away from Harold Frey. He made that same back cut off of that dribble weave that he did earlier in this half from the other side of the court, and he was wide open. Paulo just could not deliver the pass.
They bring in the veteran Layden Ricketts to replace Paulo. Here's Merrill. One-on-one with Adamu, gives it up. Porter out of the corner, went halfway down. 2-point Aggie lead, 3:20 to play. Adamu drives on Merrill, he's got to give it up. And standing out of bounds was Layden Ricketts.
Boy, Adamu made a great baseline pass to one of the best 3-point shooters last year in the league, and he was standing out of bounds. Back-to-back turnovers here in the last 3.5 minutes for the Bobcats.
Down screen from Merrill. They don't get him the basketball. Now he's got it out top. Crossover. Great feed to Bean. How pretty was that?
That was
4-point late lead now for Utah State.
Really poor ball screen defense at the top there. That ball screen was way out on the court. The guy guarding Merrill could have went under that and not had any issue.
Frey drives, misses with the right hand. And a loose ball foul. Oh no, the foul was on Brito.
Here's that ball screen that led to the basket, and oh boy, the Bobcats couldn't mess that ball screen defense up much worse than what they did right then. And of course, a great recognition then by Sam Merrill on the dish.
Okay, it was away from the basketball, so it's not Frey shooting free throws. It's the less reliable Bello. Bello from the line, 4 out of 8 tonight.
That's a very political statement by you. The less dependable Rello.
Well, when it comes to free throw shooting.
No, exactly.
Now, if it comes to rebounding, Bello's your guy. 70-66, Utah State. And Bello misses both. Now Merrill will walk it up the floor. What a game.
Justin Bean just achieving a double-double with that 10th rebound.
Oh, great drive by Brito. 6-point Aggie lead.
And that's what you want out of a head coach, is your two seniors taking over down the stretch. Sam Merrill, Diogo Brito.
It's good recognition because, Paulo would have been on Brito, and it's not to take anything away from Layden Ricketts. Paulo's quicker than Ricketts. Sure. Ricketts has had a calf injury throughout camp.
Well, down the stretch here, as well as they have played the whole game, remember Montana State back-to-back turnovers, and as good as their defense have been all night, that was two very poor defensive possessions for them, the last two possessions.
Frey against Bean one-on-one. He blows by him, missed the layup.
Wow.
He hasn't missed anything tonight. Free throws at the other end. The Aggie faithful, sensing that Utah State is going to be able to get a little bit larger margin.
But I tell you what, Justin Bean didn't give up on that play. Frey got a step on him, got to the basket, and Bean just kept coming and got there to contest the shot.
Let's not forget with Alfonso Anderson. That's the second time the lights have gone out in Georgia.
I would have thought maybe earlier in the game when Harold Frey was shooting the lights out, that may have happened, but
nice.
He's kind of gone cold.
That was nice.
You like
Joe,
that,
I did like that.
Wow. Now, I've got a couple stories about bringing teams up here to the Spectrum where some unexpected things like this happened down the stretch.
But not when Utah State was leading.
But
right?
I won't get into that. I'm as an announcer up here. That's all you got to do.
Let's not forget, 7 out of 7 from the line.
Yeah, about what a great bench Utah. And a big part of that is those guys accepting that role. This kid could be part of that this year. If he doesn't end up as a starter, he could be a terrific player off the bench.
Anderson with a big second half, and Utah State with an 8-point lead. Their largest lead of the night came in the first half. They were up by 9 on a couple of occasions.
Well, they couldn't shake Montana State. Montana State with two different leads, or the lead two different times here in the second half. And as I mentioned just a minute ago, back-to-back turnovers down the stretch, and then two very poor possessions of half-court defense. They really botched the high ball screen that Sam Merrill made them pay on, and then Brito got all the way to the basket on that drive. But they've played very, very well.
A big disparity at the line, 31 out of 41. The Aggies with 18 more attempts.
You know, one of the things that Danny Sprinkle was really worried about was transition defense and not letting the Aggies get a lot of easy baskets, and they have done that. They have done a great job in transition.
Frey wants a ball screen, and now away from the ball, we get a whistle. Porter, away from the basketball, buys a foul, and that's going to send Ricketts, who's a good free throw shooter, to the line.
Ricketts led the team in free throw shooting and three-point shooting a year ago.
His dad played at Montana, and his son's playing at Montana State. Mom played college basketball as well. My guess, he shoots like Mom.
He's a good shooter. I don't know if Mom was a good shooter or not, but this kid can shoot. It's a shame he got hurt at the end of last year. He's never really recovered. He has barely practiced this year, but he was one of the premier shooters in the Big Sky a year ago.
Quentin Gulliford's on the floor right
Him,
now.
not his mom. Not
State.
his mom. That's what I was.
Now Abel Porter's going to run some clock. 6-point Aggie lead. You always talk about having enough points. I don't know if 74 could be, but I guarantee you that Coach Smith would feel better with 76 or 77, as that shot is missed by Merrill from the free throw line.
And Sam Merrill is a pretty good pull-up jump shot shooter. That just didn't go down today.
Frey gets in deep, and he sets up beautifully. Flostay with his first bucket. And a foul on Brito, so a three-point opportunity. He can make it a three-point game right now. Finn Flostay from Essen, Germany.
And that's Frey's 5th assist as well. 34 points and 5 assists is what I have him for, and 6 rebounds.
Look what Flostay's looking into. And he calmly knocks down the free throw. Not bad for the 6'9" freshman. Three-point game.
They have
inside 55 seconds to play.
Yes, they've got great production the Bobcats have from some new players this year.
Porter's going to dribble it down, and then you got to assume Merrill's going to touch it. To Bean. Here comes Merrill trying to get the basketball. They go to Porter again. Open look, Miller. Huge make. Just his second bucket tonight, his first bucket in about 38 minutes. Fernandez drives. And the rebound of Merrill. And finally the foul comes with 11.8 left. Biggest rebound of the night goes to Sam Merrill, but it's Miller who made a 3 in the opening minute of the night, and now he makes the biggest 3 of the night in the final minute.
The subtlety of that play, great find by Abel Porter, but Brock Miller spaced up, created an uncontested passing lane. That's what you call reading the draw and kick, and that's what's made him so effective in his short Aggie career, is reading that very play there. Great play by Miller getting to his shot, and then obviously knocking down his second 3 of the game.
Sam Merrill with his 26th point, 15 out of 16 from the line. 8-point lead with 11 seconds left. Now you're taking a lot of time right now if you're Montana State. They'll get a Flostay layup with 3.5 left, and they'll send Merrill to the line again, and Utah State is going to survive. But they got the proverbial all they wanted tonight from Montana State.
No, and if you ask me what they would have benefited from the most, a blowout win or this win, I think for Craig Smith and his team coming off the year they did last year, this game will be of great benefit to them. For this very point, Drew, last year picked 9th. They slipped up on a lot of people. This year picked unanimously first in the Mountain West Conference. They're going to get everybody's best shot every night.
Yeah, no question. That should go for Frey, right? It did not. What a ball game tonight. Frey and Merrill, you missed it off camera. They just really embraced. Great respect for one another. 2 of the better guards you're going to see in college basketball. And Merrill, 17 out of 18 from the line. That's a career high makes, career high attempts, as Merrill finishes with 28. Frey a career best 34. Hey, if we get that every night for the next 4 months, I'm all in.
How about that, Drew? What a great way to start AT&T broadcast basketball in the Mountain West Conference. What a great game.
Sam Merrill in 17th ranked Utah State, 81-73. There they embrace once again. And Montana State, they're going to make some noise. You know it in the Big Sky under first-year coach Danny Sprinkle. Again, the final score 81-73. Utah State on their home floor wins it. For Joe Cravens and our entire AT&T Sportsnet crew, Drew Goodman saying good night from Logan, Utah. We'll see you Saturday night as Loyola Marymount will be in Reno to take on Nevada. Thank you for watching Mountain West Hoops on AT&T Sportsnet.